You won't believe what just happened on Real Time with Bill Maher. A woke CNN host was put on the spot and had no choice but to admit that the left has completely ruined the country. Bill Maher didn't let them dodge the truth. He forced them to own up to the failures of their policies, and the audience was shocked. Take a look.
And the former mayor of Chicago and former ambassador to Japan, Rahm Emanuel. And chief of staff, weren't you? You don't think that's a more impressive credit than those other two? Chief of staff of the White House? I feel like that is the biggest job you can have in this country behind the president. Isn't that the gatekeeper of everything, the chief of staff?
It is the gatekeeper, but the biggest job is mayor.
Of Chicago.
Yeah. And then chief of staff is the worst job until you get through it, and then you look back fondly on it. But going through it is
They don't last long. I mean, like, it's so intense, right, that you can only do
18,
it for like
18 to 19 months is the modern average.
Right.
Yeah. Not that I figured that out, but I want you to know that.
But with ambassador, you get called the honorable ambassador for the.
Yeah,
and so you probably get better restaurant reservations with that.
So sensitive, don't you think? Yeah, you do. And it's Your Excellency from now on to you. Okay? I went through Senate confirmation.
All right, this is from the people. What do you think about Trump's proposed $5 million gold card visa for wealthy foreigners? Is it smart economic move or a problematic policy?
This $5 million gold card visa idea is actually a smart economic move that aligns with his America First approach. Think about it. Wealthy foreigners investing millions just to live in the U.S.? That means more capital flowing into the economy, more job creation, and potentially even boosting real estate and business sectors. Trump has always been about making America profitable, and this policy could bring in high-value investors who can contribute without draining resources. Instead of just handing out visas, this program ensures that those coming in are financially stable and willing to inject serious money into the country. That's a win for economic growth. Now, of course, critics are going to call it elitist and say it favors the rich, but let's be real. Legal immigration should be about what benefits America the most. If wealthy individuals want to pay their way in and help boost the economy while doing it, why not? Instead of taxpayers footing the bill for new arrivals, these people would be bringing money in, not taking it out. So, is it problematic? Only if you think of immigration as some kind of free-for-all system where everyone has an equal right to enter. But if you believe in a strategic, merit-based approach that prioritizes America's economy, then this makes a whole lot of sense. What do you guys think?
Trump wants to sell a visa. You get permanent residency. By the way, I looked this up, we are hardly the first country to do this. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. But, you know, I remember...
Yeah, we actually have a version of it. It's called, I think it's called the EB-5 or something like that. So it's fine to do it. I actually think maybe it's because I'm, very patriotic. I think 5 million, we should be charging 20 million, or, American citizenship is worth more than that.
It comes with Ukrainian minerals, though.
But what I love...
Raising the price to $20 million instead of $5 million could actually be an even better move. Why? Because it would ensure that only the wealthiest, most serious investors get in, people who can truly contribute to the U.S. economy on a massive scale. Let's be real, $5 million is a lot, but for ultra-rich foreigners, it's not that big of a stretch. If we raise the bar to $20 million, we're talking about attracting top-tier global elites who are willing to pour serious money into U.S. businesses, real estate, and infrastructure. That means more economic growth, job creation, and investment in American communities. Plus, this would shut down the argument that this visa program is just a buy-in for anyone with a few million lying around. At $20 million, it's not just about being rich, it's about being mega wealthy and willing to make a huge financial commitment to America. This way, we ensure that only the most impactful investors get the privilege of living in the U.S. Some might say it's too exclusive, but let's be honest. America doesn't need more people just looking for a green card. We need people who bring real value to the country. And if they're willing to put in $20 million or more, That's proof they're serious about contributing. What do you guys think? Should we raise the price even higher, or is $5 million enough? Let me know in the comments.
He said, you know, you get the green card, but with this, the gold card, you get extra privileges. like what? You get to vote twice? Or what? It's amazing.
Well, now you're speaking Chicago language. I'm for it, but it's part of a bigger package on immigration reform. It's been 42 years since the last one. So I'm not against it, but it's part of a whole package.
I read that the current mayor of Chicago has an approval rating of 6.6%.
Round it up, Sep.
So, okay. But, I mean, you were just the ambassador to Japan. If that was your approval rating in Japan, they would do harakiri on live TV.
They would do it at 27.
I mean, what's going on in Chicago as the person?
Look, I mean, we were talking about this a little earlier. I mean, you have also the mayor of New York not doing well. Obviously, other things also here in Los Angeles not doing well, the mayor here. Look, and then you got mayors like the mayor of San Francisco and other cities that are doing well. So I would say, look, there is a general rule. I had this when I was mayor. Safe streets, strong schools, stable finances. Focus on those three things and your city's going to be fine. We've gone through 5 years where people became way too permissive of culture. They were all, which is why everything's locked up at Walgreens and CVS, and that is a disaster.
Yeah.
And I'll say this about our schools. I don't want to hear another word about the locker room. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom. You better start focusing on the classroom. We had the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. And nobody, not a governor, not a mayor, not a president, not a secretary of education is talking about it. We're all wrapped up. Look, in 7th grade, if I known that I could have said the word they and got in the girls' bathroom, I would have done it. Okay, we literally are a superpower. We're facing off against China with 1.4 billion people, and 2/3 of our children can't read 8th grade level. So no more about the lot. Wait a second, I'm on a roll for a second.
Yeah.
No more. I don't want to hear.
I gave him the light. But
I don't want to hear another word about the classroom. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom.
The fact that 8th grade reading scores are at their worst in 30 years is not just an education crisis. It's a national security threat. How can we expect to compete with China when our next generation is falling behind in basic skills? This isn't just about test scores. It's about America's future strength, innovation, and ability to lead on the world stage. China is investing heavily in education, pushing STEM, discipline, and national pride, while in the U.S., we've allowed political agendas, woke ideology, and low standards to take priority over real learning. Instead of focusing on math, science, history, and reading, too many schools are wasting time on social experiments that don't prepare kids for the real world. That's why we're losing ground. What should we do? 1, put education first again. Schools need to get back to basics: reading, writing, math, and critical thinking. No more distractions, no more lowering standards to protect feelings. We need accountability and excellence. 2, empower parents. Trump was right about school choice. Parents should have the power to pull their kids out of failing schools and put them somewhere that actually teaches. No more trapping students in broken systems just because of their zip code. 3, hold schools accountable. If schools are failing, funding should be tied to results. Why are we dumping billions into an education system that's getting worse? Schools should have to earn their money by actually teaching kids and improving scores. 4, cut the indoctrination, bring back real learning. Schools should teach kids how to think, not what to think. China is training engineers and scientists, while we're debating which pronoun to use in math class. It's embarrassing. We need to bring back discipline, competition, and real academic rigor. America is too strong, too capable, and full of potential to be losing like this. We can't afford to fall behind China, not in education, not in technology, not in leadership. If we don't wake up now, we're handing the future to them on a silver platter.
To be fair, this is actually...
I was being fair.
No, this is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes. It is impossible to build, so the cost of housing. Let me finish. I give you a chance. Cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago. If you look at Democratic states, you go look at New York versus Florida, okay? Roughly the same population. The budget of New York State is twice that of Florida. What do they have? Streets paved with gold? I live in New York. I pay the highest taxes in New York. You get nothing for it. And I think that is the image people have of the Democratic Party. Sure. Lots of taxes, lots of regulation, but nothing gets done.
Hey,
and I think
I live in L.A.
Right. Listen, the Democrats have to own this and realize the answer to everything is not more taxes, more regulation. People are fed up of that, and they feel that it isn't working.
The Democrats, look, as somebody who produced the best graduation growth in the country, but I'll take that. The point isn't the rules. The point is the results. And the party has gotten way too focused on what the rules are. And I do agree with you on this. We have made it impossible to function as a city or as a state, and been so, take an example of this example. Here, obviously in LA, it took a fire and a natural disaster to make you realize, you know what, that rule's not that important. In Pennsylvania, a bridge collapse, all of a sudden we go, well, that environmental rule is just not important. We got to build a bridge. It's much more important. And I think the Democratic Party should take a look at it and say, we're going to be honest, like we did in 1994 with reinventing government. Everything is on the table. Nothing is safe.
This is exactly the problem with the Democratic Party's leadership. They tax people to death, pile on regulations, and still manage to run cities into the ground. Just look at Democrat-run cities like New York and Chicago. High taxes, high crime, out-of-control housing costs, and failing infrastructure. Where's all that tax money going? Certainly not to improve life for the hardworking people who actually live there. Take New York versus Florida, for example. Both have similar populations, yet New York's budget is double that of Florida's. Is New York twice as safe? Twice as clean? Are the roads paved in gold? Nope. In fact, people are leaving New York in droves, fleeing to places like Florida and Texas, where they can keep more of their money, run businesses without suffocating regulations, and actually afford to live. The Democratic Party's image is exactly what was described: high taxes, overregulation, and nothing to show for it. They claim to be for the people, but the reality is, under their leadership, cities are crumbling, businesses are shutting down, and the middle class is getting squeezed. Meanwhile, in places with Republican leadership, you see lower taxes, job growth, and people moving in, not out. At some point, people have to wake up and ask, why are Democratic-run cities always the ones struggling? It's not a coincidence. Their policies don't work, and Americans are starting to realize it. That's why more and more people are turning to common-sense conservative leadership that actually gets things done. What do you guys think? Are Democratic policies ruining cities, or is there another explanation? Let me know in the comments.